I have a good support system, and we've all worked in Muscatine, and never had desire to go anywhere else. So. Most people look at me and they don't know that I have heart disease or that I've been diagnosed with cardiac failure. The grief is losing yourself. I am grieving the loss of the things I can no longer do. My capabilities are not what they're used to be, and won't probably ever be.
I was born and brought up in India, South India, and I was born to Christian parents. And in the early 80s, we migrated to the United States. My sister was the one who was a microbiologist who works at grain processing. And so when my sister moved, then my parents moved with her. And my dad's family had heart disease. Everybody had myocardial infarctions, and they went on to be with the Lord instantaneously.
My dad's father died at 51 of a heart attack when I was 8 years old. My father, who was tall, thin, never had a blood pressure problem or a weight problem, had a heart attack 15 years ago. I had led a pretty active life, so I don't think I took it as serious as I should have, even leading up to last year, except for putting on the extra pounds after I gave up all of my activities. I ate a pretty decent diet, watched sodium, drank lots of water, but I really didn't pay attention to how I felt. And I think that's probably the biggest mistake that women make, is that, they can read all they want about it, but if they don't pay attention to what their body's telling them, and that was some of the critical mistakes I made.
Gradually I did work as a clinic manager for Dr. Martin Pereira at Muscatine Dermatology. It was a very responsible job. My boss did not expect me to work that many hours, but being a perfectionist, I put in every day 9 to 12-hour days. I was fine. I worked the whole day, got off work about probably 9 o'clock at night, and then went out to eat. Before my heart attack, since I was working so much, I ate out twice a day. And I ate out that night, and then 2 o'clock in the morning, I got up to use the restroom. And I felt the sensation in my chest. And I thought it was probably a pulled muscle, and I tried to shake it off, but it would not go away. And I immediately, within minutes, actually, a couple of minutes, I woke up my husband and I said, "I'm having a heart attack, take me to the hospital."
In the morning of June 15th, I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning and felt like indigestion. So I got up and took an antacid and went back to bed, and I thought for a moment it had felt better, and within about an hour and a half after that, the pressure got to be more severe, and I thought, okay, this is not normal, this is not anything I've ever experienced before. And I got up and I decided I need to go to the hospital.
My husband took me to the emergency room here at Trinity, and the doctor said, "What brings you here?" He knew me, and I said, "I'm having a heart attack." And so they moved really fast, and then shipped me by ambulance to the university. They asked me where I'd like to go, and they took me to the University of Iowa. And once I was there, a little doctor, barely 5 feet tall, I'd say, she was so quick, I could not barely even sign the paper. But the ambulance ride was really, the 35 minutes felt like 35 hours, I'd say. It was that long because I was in pain, and I heard the guy who was sitting with me tell the driver, "Hit the pedal," because they were losing me.
When I got to the hospital that was going to do the procedure, the last thing I had remembered was them saying, "Okay, we're going to go in and do an angiogram." And I'm familiar with that because my dad had had several of those. And all I could remember was I couldn't see anything, but I could hear them talking a bit as they were preparing me. And I heard some nurse say, "Oh, we're going to have to cut off her rings." And I immediately started pulling at all of my rings, trying to get them off, and she noticed. And pretty soon I felt somebody rubbing lotion on my hands so that I could pull all my rings off. That's the last thing I remember until probably 5 days after that. I woke up in a totally different hospital and pretty lost. The nurse said, she looked at me and she knew I was puzzled about something, and I said, "What day's today?" And she says, "Well, it's the 21st. And I said, "Really?" She says, "Yes." And I said something. I said, "I just missed my dad's birthday and Father's Day," because Father's Day had been like 3 days prior to that, and my dad's birthday was the day before that. And so it didn't occur to me to ask where I was or how I was doing. I was more concerned about what day of the week it was.
Coronary artery disease is not just for men. It is actually, now that I know, it's the number one killer even for women. And they need to really plan their life and keep their priorities right. Cook at home, so then you know what you're putting in your system. Exercise. Take time for yourself and family. Work will always come. There'll always be a job around the corner for you.
I don't know if this had been any different if I had reacted before the heart attack. I've asked the questions. You know, if I had come the first time I heard something instead of waiting till I had a heart attack, would I have experienced everything that I did? If somebody can catch themselves right away, first time you're feeling something that just doesn't seem right, they always say, it's so much better to go be checked out first than to wait and not even have the opportunity to make it to a hospital.
I'm really thankful to the Heart Association for what they do. And I think if people would make some donations to the Heart Association and the research that they're doing, it would help a lot of individuals. Because it's better to live a full life where you don't have a stroke or anything and you can just work hard and, you know, do things. It's very positive what the AHA does. And in closing statements, I just have to say, I believe that in the Bible it says, a time to be born and a time to die. Everybody has a date of birth and a date of death. But we are all living that little dash in between. And I hang on to the Word of God, and I do the eating right and exercising. And thank God I'm only on aspirin today after what I've been through with the 100% blockage. So I just want to thank the AHA, the University of Iowa, and Trinity for all what they have done.